So, welcome to this episode. I have got Alex. So, tell us something about yourself.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm 38 years old. I live in Germany, quite close to the French border. I'm a teacher in a public school in Germany, so I teach English and music. I'm a passionate musician, so I play the cello mainly. I love languages in general. I teach English. I do that passionately, and there was a time when I only spoke English, and I realized, hey, languages, I love them. I've always loved them, but I've never really got into learning them. So I stumbled across two very interesting videos on YouTube by Richard Simcott and Luca Lampariello, and that really got me into language learning. So I'm quite passionate about literature. Um, uh, I'm an avid Shakespeare fan. I love sports. I love all things football, of course. Yeah, and that is, you see, I have lots of interests, and that is sometimes it's a bit difficult to find time for all of them. So that's
You
it.
seem to be a modern Renaissance man, or or wanna be at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this particular conversation, we are going to talk about personal growth, and then in the pre-chat we talked about with Tim Ferriss, we talked about Anthony Robbins. So I have just to guide our conversation to for some direction to it. So first of all, on the general topic of personal growth, what do you feel most strongly about? What do you when I talk about personal growth, what comes to your mind?
Well, what comes to my mind is that I know a lot of people who aren't really satisfied with the lives they're living, and I certainly know that I was one of them. I, at a certain point in my life, some years ago, so 5 or 6 years back, I realized this is not really the life I wanted to live. I felt I never had energy. I felt I wasn't really satisfied with the relationships I had. I was very frequently angry with people. I was upset. So personal growth, um, there is your connection with your past to make peace. All these self-help people tell you to make peace with your past, and I had a lot of trouble doing that. Um, the other thing is just what kind of lifestyle I had. How do I sleep? How do I eat? All of these things, and I'd say I implemented a few very, very powerful changes into my life that made me a happier person. I wouldn't say I'm happy all the time, but I've made enormous progress since 5 years back. So since I started out let's say call it an active journey, because of course we're always struggling to try to improve our lives, but that was a very deliberate choice. Hey, I need to change my life. So that's about a bit about that, about the background.
So yeah, so I'm also always trying to improve my life to sort of have all my potentials realized. And one of the
Yeah,
areas
right.
that I'm focusing on is the social area, and this is actually how we are talking right now. So
Yeah.
I tried I tried a message. I tried a sort of template, obviously customized for each person, to sort of say I really want to, in a way, the actual text is not important, but the message is I really want to connect with more people, to strengthen my existing relationship or to rekindle the past one.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that touches everyone really. So and I sort of and then you liked my Facebook post and I invited you to sort of as a public test, and then now we are talking, and then we discovered that we have got actually a lot of common interests besides language learning, and then we both love Tim Ferriss and then Robbins, etc. I'm sure we can discover other
Yeah,
common.
absolutely.
So it's I think 1 hour talking to you right now is way more rewarding than spending 1 hour on various Facebook groups. This is how I feel. To me, this
Yeah,
is the
absolutely.
this is a it's very very sometimes I was actually when I was interviewing Anthony Mativier yesterday, he mentioned something. He feels that sometimes actually we're even more present when we are on Skype or on Hangouts, because even when we're in person, we look at our phone, we sort of get distracted by other things. But in Skype, we're actually
And we're actually there. Yeah.
we're actually there. So it's also a bit of a mindfulness practice. So this was a little digression.
No, no, no
So
worries. I mean, you were talking about life changes or improvements, and of course, having more meaningful interaction. That is one of the things that I really wanted. You know how difficult it is to maintain contacts, to maintain friendships. We have so many friends that we hardly ever see because we've moved on somewhere, we've moved somewhere, etc. So yeah, I like your initiative of just going out there and trying to get this meaningful interaction. So thanks a lot for that.
do you mind if I share what I have done with these initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also interested in what you've done. You're talking about improvements. So what have you done? What have you implemented into your life, and what was your
Okay. Yeah.
life like before?
Mm. Well, let's talk about this. This this is called Project Meaningful Relationship. It's a hashtag template as well as this episode, as well as this series. And so actually the story was Wednesday evening in a meditation group that I go to. Um, I've been at the Sangha, that particular gathering, for almost a year, but I felt I always feel a bit disconnected there because my conversation with the people there are always at the surface level, just sort of like, hello, how are you, what have you been up to? It never really goes beyond a couple of minutes. So then
Mm.
at that moment, and then actually at various points in the past, in the last few months, I've actually thought about quitting this community to find a new one. But then I realized the problem may not be with the community, but with myself, whether I'm taking the effort to actually connect with the
Right.
people there. Also realizing that we are also realizing my introverted nature, well, disposition more like I can also be quite sort of outgoing at times, but my general disposition to be more reserved and quieter, well, despite all my Facebook activities, that which seems,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, it can be a over conversation thing, compensation over what's the word,
Yeah, it's
over
right. Compensation. You
yeah,
try to
it can also
compensate.
be an over conversation thing, but I realized the most important thing is a face-to-face conversation, either on Skype, on or even better, getting a coffee. And so what I did was that I was walking to the station with the two people. I did something that it actually took me a lot of courage, and then I actually said to them, two people that was working with me, hey, I want to get to know members of this Sangha, this community better. And what I like to do is to have the way that I have done that in the past uh, is to have face to face, one to one, sort of just to grab a coffee, grab a drink, and that is the way that I can sort of really get to know the other person. It's to me, it's one to one communication. It's much deeper than a group conversation or even a small group, or maybe it is part of my personality. And so I've really enjoyed it in the past. Actually, it was initiatives, thanks to my very good friend Yev Kazanik, saying just a hi to you. You sort of mentioned, proposed, suggested that to me a few years ago, and now we have sort of I feel that we have a very very strong and meaningful friendship. So a shout out to you. Um, so yeah, now I just want to do the same, but it is something I don't know. I think it's just the sense of being maybe the fear of being rejected, or
Yeah,
maybe
right. That's always something that
yeah, I think it's a bit like, well, we are both guys, so I think it's a bit like when we were young, well, when just sort of asking a girl out is sort of a similar thing. It's like, hey, you want to feel like grabbing a coffee with me, and so or something. But yeah, but then that would be with a girl wanting to date a girl. But
yeah,
for
totally understand.
obviously, well, make it very clear. I mean, otherwise, if you're talking to a guy, he may think it's a bit weird and stuff to say that, hey, this is I'm straight, and then I just want to know you as a friend. So it can. I've read various. I think there's an article on Life Hacker where people had actually strange experience when they did not make that intention too clear.
Yeah, it is,
So
of course. I mean, the fear of rejection is always something that is on the back of our minds, or at least that's true with me. So you can't just say, okay, today I change my personality so that I'm outgoing now. I'm going to approach these people. It's not easy, and I wouldn't say that I'm generally a shy person, but going out there and actually meeting people that you don't meet anyway, that's a deliberate effort, and that is, of course, facing that fear of rejection is a major issue. So, and I think it's for everyone. It's just that some people have mastered this to a certain point that they know, hey, I'm okay, and even if this guy doesn't like me, it's not gonna change my world much. No.
mm, yeah, so what I did was after that was I talked to those people. I said that is my idea. I follow up with some text, and then one of them is quite like the idea, but then we sort of changed that we sort of organize something together, which is great. Doesn't have to be a coffee. My idea is just to sort of get to know that person quite well. And then the second person, um, he was a bit hesitant, maybe just because that he's not that committed to that particular to that particular community anyway.
Yeah.
So the lesson was I got one positive response, and then the other one I don't think he is just not it's not about me, it's more about the
Yeah. Right.
community that he doesn't actually quite like, that maybe he's there only every couple of months anyway. So yeah, and then inspired by that, and then sent text to and then actually sent an email to one of the organizer of the group, expressing my desire to connect with the community. He's obviously very happy. And then I asked him for the contact of the main sort of chairman of that society, expressing my feeling about sometimes feeling disconnected and wanting to reconnect with the chairman and the organizer and everyone else. She's obviously very happy as well. So now I've got a few coffee, um, what's the word? Coffee meeting
Yeah. Yeah. You set up
with
some
people.
meetings with them.
Yeah, and then so I'm looking forward to that. Um, in the last 2 weeks, what I've also done is that I also try all my Facebook lists. Facebook. So I sent some to my primary school, secondary school,
Yeah.
university,
Great idea.
and my online community. And yeah, because I've spent, it's much better than just sort of clicking and wandering aimlessly on YouTube and Facebook, I feel. So to get the
Absolutely. Yeah.
information, yeah. So yesterday I interviewed Anthony Metivier. So the story was we were both in Polyglot Gathering, the amazing conference
In
in
Berlin, right?
Berlin. We had a very short conversation at breakfast about my Indonesian challenge at that time and how he would use his memory techniques to memorize stuff. It was a very short conversation, but I realized, he was talking about introversion at his podcasts. So a plug for my friend. So he's magnetic memory guy. So if you want to improve your memory, he is your guy. So and anyway, so I interviewed him yesterday. It was just I felt a very deep connection to him. So then I think it was mutual, and maybe we would sort of even beside the podcast just sort of keep each other updated, and then we had various Facebook Messenger exchanges. We're going to meet on Skype soon, maybe in person soon. So to me, that is a friendship, or a close to one. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
right.
sort of, so then yesterday I was like, instead of going to Meetup, why don't I actually connect to people already in my list? There's someone that I've never really met. A Korean girl that liked my post. I was like, hey, why don't we have a chat? So then I didn't know anything about her, and then we both discovered that we both learned Japanese a few years ago. So then we just chatted in Japanese for
Great.
close to an hour. We talked about language learning. She didn't know about Esperanto, so I told her about it. I don't know it either, but then I think it's a nice movement. She was
Have
saying
you
that
have you started learning Esperanto, or have you had any exposure to it?
I do want to learn Esperanto,
Ah, you want,
and
yeah.
as a plug to one of my products, I'm developing bilingual audiobooks and phrase book. So yeah, so one phrase in English and then two phrases in Esperanto, and then with a very nice pause in the beginning of a thing, because spirituality is sort of quite important to me, and it also makes the audio much more relaxing. So that I'll be doing that, and then I'll test drive it with myself to see if I can actually learn Esperanto for my own series. So
Cool.
that is what I have got in my pipeline. So yeah, sometime today, I will also kind of work on this project. So yeah, um, someone that I've never really met before, even not even any Facebook interaction. We both belong to online sort of polyglot community. It was a very nice chat. It was just, and then we were both happy that we could both practice our Japanese. It was just a very, very nice feeling. So
Yeah, cool.
shout out to you. So beside that, yeah, that's it. I mean, I got some of the um, some of the Facebook replies do take time, by the way, because it's pretty out of the blue. You imagine you haven't met someone for like years, and then you get this. Obviously, it's a very heart warming feeling, but it's still a bit out of the blue. So it may
Yeah.
take them some time to reply to you. And what I actually like to add at the end of the message is no reply needed to relieve them from
Yeah, no pressure.
no, from to the pressure to reply. And because of that, it may actually make them more likely to reply to you. That was from my own experience. But I genuinely mean no reply needed. So if you don't reply, it's fine.
Yeah, cool.
I have an
Yeah,
intention to reconnect with you. If you feel that our life circumstances have changed or etc. or our values have changed, no strong desire to reconnect in this way, it's fine.
yes,
Absolutely fine.
that's certainly an approach that will work, and that's certainly something that I like to pick up as well, because I have lots of friends that I really consider special, but I don't really meet them very often for various reasons. Some have children and are obviously busy, or they just live very far away. But nowadays with Skype, etc., it should be easy to reconnect, you know. So yeah, great initiative. It has certainly encouraged me to let's say to strengthen or to reestablish or to reconnect, just to in general to reconnect with people. So yeah, that's
If you
great.
don't
Yeah,
mind me putting you on the spot, do you feel like a public commitment to try it in the next N days?
absolutely. You know, in fact, I will do one today. You know,
Yes?
because I'm absolutely against putting things off. Next days is already very remote, but today and right now, I feel like doing that. There is already one person I have in mind because um, that you know for a few years we've just been Facebook friends and we didn't really have any personal interaction. But now he started a sport that I'm doing. So he started freeletics. Um, yeah, so there is even something that we might reconnect over. So yeah,
Hmm.
and there are lots of other people. So I'd say I want to uh, reconnect with at least two people in the next 7 days. That's my public commitment that I want to make.
Great. So and then I hope that you sort of carry on it for I don't know for the next week or month. So try and sort of even just
Yes.
one message every few days is enough to sort of experiment
Yeah.
with the
Right.
idea. So actually, yeah, from this is actually one of my well, I was listening to some podcast a few years ago, and then I came up with this formulation of my life purpose, and is to inspire value-driven action through polyglottery, being a polyglot, technology That's why I'm a programmer, a personal develop and continuous improvement.
Yeah.
So it's something that's very dear to my heart, and I strongly feel that it's now one of my mission to actually spread this message, to encourage people to reconnect with, actually mostly starting from people just around you. Maybe there are so many potential friendship even within
Yeah,
50
right.
meters when you're listening right now, or even 5 meters.
Yeah, and
And
sometimes you just think, oh no, I can't. I'm not. I'm too tired to now to approach, or I'm not really into approaching strangers. You're right. I've missed a lot of opportunities
I
where I thought,
strongly
yeah,
feel that with Facebook, if most people have at least got 100 friends on their Facebook. Obviously, that is they are not. Some of them may not be friends, but they can
yeah,
be. That's
yeah, right.
why there were some connections in the past. So there is a potential. So actually encourage people to deepen existing one rather than just go and find new one. And it's the sort of the bright shiny object symptom.
Yeah,
So
right, right.
it creates a new thing. So it's just always coming back to appreciate what we have already, like the 5 acres of diamond or something along the line, the book like that. Um, so yeah, this is something that I really strong feels passionate about, and I really hope that if you take no other actions from this recording, obviously I've got my plug as well for my various stuff, but
Yeah, yeah,
is is to is to send a message to a text message or a Facebook message or whatever message, or tell them in person that I'm trying to deepen my relationship. It's something that is very dear to my heart. You came to mind. Shall we have a time? Shall we set up a time in the near future to have a grab a coffee, if in the same city, or via Skype or Hangout, Google Hangout? So yeah, that is the most important message I feel
yeah,
so far
right.
from
Yeah,
this.
right.
So
Absolutely. I feel the same. And now tell me, Benson, with all these activities that you're doing, with all these initiatives, how do you manage to keep track? How do you manage to squeeze all these things into a 24-hour day? Because obviously you only have 24 hours, just like me. So
mm,
how do you do that?
I really like to keep a regular meditation practice, and that is something that is very dear to my heart. Um,
What kind of
with
meditation are you doing? Because I meditate as well. What I'm doing is a transcendental meditation, which is just two
TM.
times 20, yeah, TM. What kind of meditation are you doing?
Um, I've tried. I think I've explored almost, well, not all of them, most of them. So right now, I do a mindfulness of breathing, simply observing the breath. I feel that that is by far the simplest. I use an Android app called, for an iOS, I have been using iSamadhi for years, SISAMADHI, and for Android right now, I'm using a timer called Insight Timer. There is a community aspect to it. You can see who which other member or user of this app is also meditating with you on this planet. So it's quite a nice feeling that hey, you are now meditating with 50 people, some of them in
Yeah,
Canada,
right.
in America. Obviously, one advice is to put your phone on do not disturb mode, otherwise you won't get any meditation done. But stay online. I can still stay online, and and then I can then have a meditation, and it serves as a meditation log, and then I can send a thank you message to someone who is meditating with me in the same city, or just click. It's just a one click. It's just to give them a nice feeling that we are sort of. It's a very solo thing, but it's also good to encourage people and get encouraged.
Yeah, right. Right.
If to is well, this is season 0 of this podcast. So I don't really haven't really worked out the structure yet. But another thing that is really dear to my heart are the messages of the late Wayne Dyer. One
Right.
one one of St. Francis of Assisi, saying I think so. One of the prayer of him is if I think I'm paraphrasing here. If we want to be loved, love. If we want to be cared for, care. If we want to be connected to, connect.
Yeah.
So sort of, in a way, it's sort of like Gandhi's message of be the change that you want to see. If you
Right.
feel lonely,
Yeah.
don't pick someone who is lonely, not lonely, then you're both not
Yeah.
lonely.
That makes so
Definition.
much sense. I remember I used to wait for change to happen. You know, I used to just wait. Okay, something will miraculously change my life until at a certain point of time. I realized it doesn't work that way. So I started to bring about that change. Yeah, it's very you know, another connection. You're meditating. I'm meditating as well, and you're doing that because as a means to deal with all the activities that you're involved in, right? And it's the
Mm,
same with me. I realized I'm doing so much. I love doing all these things, but I'm going crazy, you know, with all these
mm,
things to keep up with. So yeah, meditation. To me, meditation is the means of just not having to think about all the things that are going on. You know, I'm a teacher, and at school there are so many things that you need to consider. There are so many people you are dealing with, so many fates that you touch, literally. So it's so nice for 20 minutes twice a day to just leave it all behind and just be you. Yeah. So uh, you have you done TM as well? Because
I
you at
haven't
least are familiar with that.
myself, but then I do. I feel that I've explored enough styles that I feel that the simplest breath meditation has been very helpful to me. So that is the practice
Right.
that I sort of choose to deepen for the next few years.
Great.
And
How often do you do that?
I
Few
do it
times a
on
day or?
Skype, funnily enough, with my dear friend Yev Kazanik, who started approaching me for, hey, let's get a coffee, that guy. And so every morning, Monday to Friday, at 8:15 Paris time, 7:15 London time, where we have a format that we sort of say we sort of have a check-in because we are friends, so we sort of it's good to share what we've been up to and share our challenges and successes. Is very just sort of what friends do. The second thing is gratitude. It's a very powerful emotion. So sort of share a few things that we're grateful for. Usually, obviously, his presence, friends, colleagues, etc. I just wanted to think something more specific that has brightened our day in the last 24 hours. The last thing that we do is the last verbal exchange is on what is it? Is on intention. It's sort of like goal setting for the day. So it's a bit of accountability as well. And so a couple of minutes. So the total verbal exchange is about 10 minutes in total because well at the beginning it was a bit longer, but we sort of worked out how to express ourselves succinctly. And then sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't do it. We pick a quote, an inspirational quote, Buddhist quotes because we're both Buddhists. It's from some of the teachings of the Buddha, and then we sort of let that sink into our minds, and then we then say how many minutes of meditation we want to do, and so sometimes because it's already quite late for me, so I usually can do only 5 to 10, but it's a bit earlier for him. I mean, we both work in a traditional office job, so then I meditate for 10 minutes. He meditates for 20 minutes, and then at the end of my 10 minutes, I just leave the call. And then, but then it's the accountability that someone else is on the other end of the Skype that that I don't that I won't what's the word, fiddle, that I won't
Fiddle with.
just fiddle with random things and I just move around because that will make noise. So it's sort of another monitor.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
sounds fascinating. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Great to
for
share.
try it with me, I can also do it with you. or with any listener who are inspired, just drop me a message. Obviously, it can't be too big a group, but then I think we can sort of have various. We can keep various people if you're inspired to join. So yeah, that will be around 7:15, 7:30 London time GMT. So I suggest that. Do you feel like continuing the conversation? Do you have any time constraint?
Uh, I would have to leave it around 11 p.m.
Oh,
A.m. of course.
so okay. So then I was going to suggest a short break. So yeah, why not? So we can carry on for to give you some time. Okay, so another 15 minutes. So we have talked about sort of general introduction and how we got to know each other, the relationship aspect, and then we've also talked about the habit. Okay, I realized I haven't actually answered your question. Beside meditation,
Yeah.
the way that I sort of keep up with my many projects is to use a spreadsheet to keep track of my goals. The simplest spreadsheet is just to a yes or no. I used to track time. I used to track various things more, but it's way too much overhead. I won't do it. It's too much
Yeah,
effort.
sounds very familiar to me. So
This is very familiar. This is let me give a shout out to Add One Challenge. It's a great way, although this is not an affiliate link. I think it's a great community to learn languages. If the idea is to dramatically improve our language ability in 3 months. The original goal is to be able to have a 15-minute conversation with a native starting from zero or little knowledge. So it's a shout out to Brian Kwong talking about gratitude, my deep gratitude to you. It's also I feel that through you I'm meeting you right now. So thank you very much, Brian.
yeah, I second that.
Yeah, you're great. You're awesome. And yeah, I've now the yay what got to my head. I sort of like, hey, I feel like a teenager now, or even preteen. It somehow add yay to my conversation. I just did it in my work email as well.
Yay.
I work
Yeah.
I work in a financial institution, and I sort of yay it in my email to very high management to like 100 people. It's like,
So
what
you're
great.
doing such a spreadsheet, and but you try to not get it too you try to not make it too complicated.
Yes or no? It's very good. And if you're inspired to join us, the listener, Level Up Challenge is where you can track your goal. Yeah, with very motivated individuals such as yeah. Shout out to Ellie Yasti. Yeah, um, young 13 years old who's very inspiring, and then he's homeschooled, but not even the traditional sense of homeschooling. He's just studying himself through internet resources and books, and he has a very high level in mathematics, in languages, in engineering. He's starting to learn web programming. As such, it's
Wow.
very high. And the point is, for certain people, traditional school system may not work for them, especially people who are extra gifted. So yeah,
I agree.
good.
I mean, I'm a teacher. I'm in the system, and I don't always know. There's lots of times when I'm really frustrated with the system. So, yeah, I know the benefits of homeschooling, and because this is curiosity-led learning. So whatever inspires you, you pursue, and that is something that is so much better than just following some kind of curriculum, in my opinion. So if you just follow your inclination, and every child, every person wants to learn something, but I feel sometimes school even destroys all that curiosity, all that natural and innate ability to want to learn, or
Mm.
inclination rather.
So I feel so. My message to everyone is not to, well, it's not exactly to go homeschooling, but it's just so much that we can do with the internet resources, free resources. It's also something free, and also grab a book from the local bookshop, Amazon, etc. Just to, so much we can learn, so much we can learn. Life is about learning, even to me, and it's also to me, it's also about learning to learn.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
So, yeah, we have got about 9 more minutes. So we have talked about relationship. We have talked about sort of habits. We've talked about education. And there's so many topics that I feel that we can explore, for example, language learning, etc. But let's save that for a future episode, so stay tuned. But are there any other topics that you feel like discussing that speaks to you right now that we can sort of exchange in the next?
Yeah, about language learning, how did you get started on that? I mean, have you were you always interested in language learning, or is it something that came up recently?
So um, I will explore that with you, more with you in the more kind of language dedicated podcast. But in short, I've always liked languages since I was like 4. When I was like 4, going to kindergarten, even at that stage, I really enjoy. Oh, is this still on air, by the way?
I can't see you at the moment, so I have no picture of you showing.
Um,
Ah, there
uh,
you are.
okay, sorry about that. Oh, it is still broadcasting. Okay, being broadcast. So, Um, yeah, since I was young, I really enjoyed language learning. I'll give you the short version. The short version is that I grew up in Macau. Well, I was born in Macau, but grew up in London, and then in there it's very multilingual already. So Cantonese, English, Mandarin, Portuguese as my particular school, and then yeah, a shout out to my mum. Hey, I love you.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, it was quite you were trying various things, and then the flashcard. I don't know why, but you helped me learn English vocabularies, apple, oranges, and stuff like that. And we were you gave me a little Lego box, and inside we were playing with flashcards, actually. But I just found it a very bonding experience. So maybe that was it. That was the trigger. But it's something that I genuinely like as well because you've also tried to piano and various other things that you interest that you try and sort of cultivate in me. But language is the one that stick. Like piano, I've learned for a few years, but only got up to ABRSM grade 5, so I can play the basic songs. Well, not basic. I can play songs like for Alice that annoys everyone and various
Okay.
beyond that. Most Chopin song I cannot play. And then into language learning. So let me. The short version is though I learned Japanese mostly on my own when I was about 14. Spanish at school when I moved to London, and then after that I explored various languages. I really like trying out new things. It's sort of my personality, and then yeah, just sort of it's just an ongoing life passion. Because maybe because of my introversion, or thanks to my introversion, or despite of my introversion, I actually want to reconnect deeper with people from a different culture. So one way is to speak the native tongue. As Nelson Mandela said,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you speak to the heart. And so yeah, and then so always learning how to learn language more efficiently. Mm.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, so we have only got a couple of minutes. Is one question that I like to ask every guest is, what is your routine then? What is your daily, weekly routine? And which area you want to improve? So it's sort of a bit of public accountability.
Well, I'm constantly, just like you, I'm constantly trying to improve things. So, a few years back, I stumbled upon a very interesting blog called Zen Habits. Um, by Vinny Babuta, I think, and he talked about getting rid of the alarm clock. And back then I was really into major changes. I wanted to implement major changes. So what I did is I tried it out. I went to bed at a certain time, and or first thing I tried to see when am I going to bed every day. So nowadays I get up anywhere between 4 and 5 a.m. Without the alarm clock. So that's a major improvement already. I start with a glass of water. I drink a green smoothie. I do some yoga or sports or both. Some activity, and in summer I try to go out, do some breathing exercises on the balcony because sometimes I wake up and I'm not really energetic. I'm not really motivated for some reason. But to me, just going out there, having some fresh air, and there's a forest nearby, so you can hear the birds chirping, and we have some squirrels about. So it's a very nice experience. So I do some breathing exercises. I sing. I try to do some glossica or some language learning related material in the morning because I feel what I get done in the morning relieves me of any pressure. So I actually have a very, very long list of things that I try to do in the mornings. I usually drink a lot of green or white tea. This is really something that I've gotten used to. What I want to improve on is, and this is the public commitment, I have yet to find a way to manage social media and all of that. So ideally, what I want to do is to have a certain amount of time a day where I would deal with all the correspondences, email and Facebook, and not just, you mentioned, okay, you have this group and that, and of course you can spend all the time of your life just trying to keep up with various conversations. But this is something. Sometimes I just spend time on YouTube, on Facebook, etc. I would like to have a fixed amount of time in the afternoon to deal with that and not do any Facebooking in the morning, for example. So yeah, but basically when I come home from work, I do some oh yeah, and I forgot the meditation, of course, in the morning. That's one of the first things I do to just stay calm, cool, and gain some focus. When I come home, I do a wing wave, which is something that deals with brain halves, connecting them. It's a half hour. It's not a meditation. It's more of a trance. It makes you feel really, really good. It's helped me a lot to, after work, tend to be a bit more tense, etc. It really relieves me of that pressure. And then I do some music and preparation for the next day and stuff. Yeah, so that's basically my daily routine.
Great. So I'm inspired by your routine. We have got 2 minutes left. So what I can share is one very powerful way to manage social media is there are various Chrome extension. One of them is a Pomodoro app, and then during the Pomodoro 25-minute working time, YouTube and Facebook are blocked. Obviously, you can browser, and then so search for Pomodoro app and look in the description. One of them says it will block Facebook and stuff. So the other way is what I activate most of the time is an extension called Facebook News Feed Eliminator. So it just eliminates the newsfeed, and because I just want to connect with people in my group, and then various fans that I want to connect with, I've got a special sort of sublist. And so that one way that I sort of make sure I don't get distracted by just so many things. So we are coming up to the hour. I feel that we can talk for much longer. A lot of topics we can explore further, but then let's not get burnt out from our conversation as well because energy. Yeah. So I look forward to meeting you for the next episode, and then where we will explore more life-changing strategies or our way to try to change our life.
Yeah, right.
So my leaving Do you have any parting message for the audience?
Oh well, there's just so much, and my motto is always just I'm trying to live my life, not somebody else's. So, yeah, listen to your heart. That's all I have to say.
My two sort of motto: live your passion. It's the Anthony Robbins thing, as well as love yourself,
Yeah, right.
the people around you, and humanity. With this message, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks, Benson.